was telling me 20 minutes. So I don't know who's keeping the time, but my name is Morin Desalu. Whatever else I do is not important. What is important is what I say. I work with my mouth. So what I want to talk to you about is not technology. It's not dated. It's something that was true 100 years ago and will be true 100 years from now. The power in my tongue. Now, I'm not being religious. I'm just talking about power in my tongue. Talk is power. How do I talk? What should I say? We live in a place where conversations should start with, my name is so-and-so, this is what I do. But we find that conversation degenerates very quickly here to, oh, you've put on weight. Oh, your skin, you have this pimple here. Now, whether the person you're talking to is important or not, whatever you say is not being heard just by that person. Because there are other people around who are judging you by what you're saying to this one person. So it is so important that we mind what we say. Introduce yourself. Is your name, and this is what I do. It's a quick thing. Don't give an essay. It turns the other person off. And the most important thing I'm putting to you here is you really don't know that person you're talking to. 1 minute, this gentleman was talking to us about somebody who invented something. You are tweeting to him, and it's telling traffic, and then Nokia buys it, and then he has $1 million in the bank. Now, if you meet that guy today, he's very likely to be just an ordinary-looking fellow in a t-shirt. But if you have a careless conversation with somebody who is either powerful or potentially powerful, you just lost a transaction. So it's so important. Please be confident. Whatever it is you do, stand tall and introduce yourself nicely and talk properly to people. Hold their interest. While you're doing that, be sure of your facts. Don't just throw things around that you're not sure about. Read. We don't read enough. We've become totally illiterate because some people don't even read newspapers. Don't listen to the news. Don't read newspapers. Don't read any books. On the internet, it's purely Facebook. Don't, even the Facebook, you're not reading the things that people are bringing through as news items. How many people are familiar with this missing aeroplane right now? How many people on board? Okay, 239. Now, what could have happened? Whatever. That's a current affair for now. We have a national conference coming up. You're in Nigeria. Is it your business? Do you know? Do you know what is going on around you? All those things matter. To you, to whoever it is you want to do business with, if you're looking for a job, please sound intelligent. A lot of people have on their resume hobbies, reading. I interview people all the time. And when I see reading, the first thing I say is, what are you reading now? And then there's a silence. Because they're not reading anything. So don't write that you're a reader when you don't read. And if you read, and the person says to you, what's the most interesting thing you've read, please have an answer that makes sense. So, back to that read. Then, when you talk, don't repeat yourself. Some people just keep saying the same thing over and over again. Most importantly, know when to stop. When you find that the person you're talking to is doing something else, i.e., they're inside their phone, they're now checking their mail. It's an interview, but the person you're talking to is doing something else. You lost the plot. And it's so important to now either bring the person back on or just say, is there anything else you would like to know about me? But keep the interest of whoever it is you're talking to. If it's a cocktail party and you're talking to somebody and the person's eyes are roaming around the room, you lost the plot. So please keep people interested in what you're doing. Religion. We don't discuss religion in business circles. Business, you go for a cocktail, keep that one off the table. Do that with your friends. No politics either, because these are things that heat up people's tempers and you cannot control what's going to happen. Then there's a Nigerian thing. The comedians do it. The ethnic jokes. We don't do ethnic jokes in business because it isn't right. So if you're sitting in a social function and people want to keep talking about running down another ethnic group in the country, let them do it. But it's not for you. You listen. You can crack up if you like, but please, keep out of the ethnic jokes. They don't do well for business. Always wear a smile and work on your appearance. There's no point making sense if you don't look the part. And if you're wearing something that doesn't fit, and you keep doing this the whole day, you lost another 10 points. So to do business, to succeed in life, there's a lot of networking. Networking is what we're doing now. Do you know the name of the person sitting next to you in this room? I'm not going to take my 20 minutes to tell you to introduce yourselves, but when you have that coffee break, make sure that the person to your left or to your right, you know their name. And possibly just a little bit about what they do. Because I take it we're not friends here. We all came here for a purpose. But make sure you don't lose that opportunity. Because you might be sitting next to the person who's going to make the next $10 million on some transaction that's currently in their head. Be in the right place at the right time. That means if you know that there is a seminar or lecture somewhere that is interesting, not necessarily pertaining to what you do or what you want to do, but it's an interesting topic and you are not doing anything, please go. You never really know who you're going to meet there. Then you go somewhere and you see Aliko Dangote talking to somebody. No hustling. It's always right to get an introduction. Or if the person is walking alone and you fall in step and manage to say, "Good afternoon, sir. My name is," that's different. But when you're hustling is when you cut into a conversation. Somebody's talking to somebody else and you start shuffling right there and excuse me, you lost the plot. So it's important to know how to approach people. Then always have a business card. If you're starting your own business, have a card. If you're working for somebody, ask them if you can have a card. It helps the introduction. You don't have to say too much about just an address. Then remember that when you're standing in the place and there are other people coming to you, but somebody else was already standing there, it is only polite to introduce this person. But you can only do that if you already know their name. Now, the other thing I always say is celebrate life. Celebrate the joys and sorrows in the people around you. Somebody has some good fortune, an appointment. Pick up your phone and call and say, I heard your good news, I celebrate you, tra-la-la. Or you don't see them, or you don't make the effort, then you now see them somewhere else. As the person comes up, there will be present company. You say, "Congratulations on X." Or, "I was really glad to hear that this and that happened." Now, you are celebrating somebody else, but you're really celebrating yourself. Because you don't know who is watching you. And it is the people watching you who see that you're a happy person. You wish people well. Now, when you wish people well, you're going to do well. Because everybody is going to make a way for you when a way comes through because they know you're a good person. I'm not saying pretend, if it doesn't come naturally to you to be happy for people, don't try. I'm going to talk about myself now. Just a short business story. People laugh at me when I go to conferences and say, "Are you from the Nigerian Legion?" Because I wear my pins. Now, I read a book by Madeleine Albright, which was called Read My Pins. women in this room, the men, if they care to, read the book. But she had a lot of pins. I think she must have had 150 pins. And she would sit there and carefully look at her pins every morning. And when she's going to a meeting with the Russians, for example, trying to discuss some nuclear power, whatever, she decides, you know what, I'm wearing a snake. And she would put that pin on her lapel because she's already setting the stage for them to know that I've come here, I can be your friend, and I can bite you. That was Madeleine Albright's story. For me, I wear pins that say who I am. I have a pin that says I've been to Jerusalem, I'm a pilgrim. I wear a pin that says I'm a Nigerian because I'm proudly so. I wear a pin for my office wristwatch. I wear a pink ribbon because I'm a woman and I am fighting for a cure for breast cancer. I wear a red ribbon which says I'm aware of AIDS and I will talk to anybody who cares to listen about how to protect themselves. I wear a pin that says I'm gender neutral. So whether you're a man or a woman, I will give you a job and I will support you. And I wear another pin here that says my weekends are booked. It's for children. It's a soccer pin. And I say it's my biggest pin because that's my job. From Friday night to Monday morning, it's family. So my weekends are booked. Now, you'll be amazed at how much conversation I get at a conference with my pins. There are people who come to look for me because they want to talk about my pins. I went through, this is off the record, video, be careful. I was pregnant and going through the airport in America. And I've been told that they can be quite nasty if you're pregnant and they're like, oh, why are you coming here to have your baby or whatever. I had 9 pins. And the way I had my pins when I went for my visa is the same way I had my pins when I got to the airport in America. And all they said when I stepped up was, oh my goodness, I know that one. I don't know. What's that one? Oh, I haven't seen that one. It's conversation. Use whatever you have to strike up a conversation. For some people, it's a hairstyle. For some people, it's the style of the clothes they wear. Some people, it's, their jewelry. For some men, it's just a watch that's just making so much noise that you're like, hello. But then, obscene is not good. So whatever you do decent, keep your nails clean, look the part, but find something about you that can sell you. So that's my first story. But my main ticket is my knowledge of Africa and my knowledge of Nigeria. Nigerian languages and customs. I have been to over 30 countries of 52 countries in Africa. I make it my business to shop the atlas and to look at Africa and say, oh, we haven't been to Rwanda, let's go. And when people say, oh, why are you going to Tanzania? Do you know anybody there? I always don't know. But I want to see the place. Because I cannot be the African that has been to California and New York and has been to Florida and has been to Europe and has been to Russia but hasn't been to Africa. It is an embarrassment and it won't happen to me. I don't know about the rest of you, but start with West Africa. But more importantly, start with Nigeria. Have you been around Nigeria? Now we have a problem in the far north, but it doesn't stop me from going to some places if I need to go. I'll be careful. But there's still so many other places to go. Even in the southeast now, we have a problem. But if we don't even see what the problem is, we can't fix it. So let's not just sit in our comfortable terrain. Go places, because those are the things you're going to talk about. If you don't have anything to talk about, nobody's going to listen to you. Now, I have another personal strength in Nigeria, which is the names of Nigeria. Do not be that Nigerian who cannot say Nwamaka, who cannot say Ademule, who cannot say Hajara, who cannot say Orishematosa, who cannot say Osawemere, you cannot, you Inyabasi. They're just our own Nigerian names. And the way we are, we try to like just say it in Yoruba, therefore I'm not supposed to know an Igbo name. Why? Is there something wrong with your brain? I think we can do this. I think we can be one country, and as one country, we can know our names if they are not that difficult. And if you say it wrong, let somebody correct you. When it is Ikotepene, don't start sounding like you came from Mars. Oh, there is something. You're not winning any prizes for that. You're just looking like a fool. So please, make sure you know your country, you know the names, you know how to pronounce them. It's so important. Now I'm going to close with a story on those names. We have so much religiosity now that somebody's family name is, this one I actually agree with, Unwosu. Unwosu. It means, an Igbo person here? What does it mean? Outcast, child dedicated to the oracle. So I have a friend who's changed her name. She's married and Unwosu, and she's not going to answer the name. So they are called Nwachukwu now. What does Nwachukwu mean? Correct, child of God. So I'm not going to quarrel with them changing from one Igbo name to another Igbo name. But when your father's name was Mark Nwosu, and you now say your name is Jeremiah Mark, I have a problem. I don't know how many Ruth Moseses and Samuel Peters are in this room. But please, go back to basics. Go and find the family name. If we send you to the United Nations to represent Nigeria, are you Jeremiah Mark? Are you from Ghana? Are you from Egypt? Are you from America? Are you from Canada? Or are you proudly Nigerian? Please stand up for whatever your name is. Now, even if your family has decided that Nwosu and Mark are now the same, fine. But tell them that my name is Ifunaya, my name is Ogochukwu Mark. Choose a name that will represent where you're coming from. Now, I've had a little ministry with names because my father had a ministry with names. So let's say I got that as a legacy. And I would always say, oh, your name is Victoria Peters. Why? Then I asked the young lady, where do you come from? And she said, I come from Benue State. And I said, wow. So, what is your native name? And then she says to me, for whatever it's worth, my name is Aipo. And I said, so why don't you use it? This was in 1995. She was a personal assistant to somebody in a bank that I did business with. And she said, after that conversation, and the fact that I asked her a lot of questions during that season about her life, she changed her name and started to use Aipo. And she said, doors began to open because whenever she said her name, somebody took an interest in her and said, where are you from? And it was a name that just started to open her doors. Today, that woman is the head of administration in an institution I will not name, but a very senior, a very big national institution with a huge budget. So 2 years ago, they advertised in the papers for insurance brokers. I'm an insurance broker. I abused you about newspapers. I didn't see it. Neither did anybody in my office. Anyway, this was October. Applications closed in November. We did not apply. They shortlisted, brought the whole thing down to about 10 brokers and took it to the boss. And the boss upset the list. And she said, this list is not complete. There is a name that is supposed to be on this list. Find me this broking firm. So they went on the internet, couldn't find a phone number for me, but found an address to my office. And she wrote a card and sent it to my office physically. So I get the card, I look, and in my address book, everybody who died 10 years ago is still there. I don't delete. So I put her native name because I had put it in my address book like that. And as soon as I put it in, it just jumped up at me. That, wow, it was this girl that was somebody's PA in 1995. This is 2 years ago, 2012. How many years? 17 years. So I called her, and I started with her English name, and then her Benue name. And she goes, Auntie, you haven't forgotten me. And I said, I have not forgotten you, because I don't forget people. Never mind that you know that it was the Rolodex. Anyway. So she goes, I am now so and so. I am putting insurance brokers on my 3 trillion naira assets. They sent me a list of all sorts of people I don't know. Maybe 4 of them we know, but the rest I don't know them. There will be nothing done in this place if you are not there. Please, can we have your application? I'm emailing to you now what we need from you. We need it by 5 p.m. today. It was 1 o'clock. Anyway, to the glory of God, we had prepared everything they wanted. Pension, commission, clearance, ITF, VAT, tralala, for a different job a couple of months before, which we didn't get. But God works in mysterious ways. It was really for this one. So she had it at 5 o'clock and gave us a huge account. But you know what? My mouth. It was not my mouth of 2 years ago that got that job. It was my mouth of 17 years before. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow is bright. Use your mouth, find your tongue, and you're going to be all right.